Hi, it's Mr. Anderson, and welcome to Biology Essentials Video 48. This podcast is on
Spekes gazelle or gazelle spekes.
You see that? He's lived. Oh, he's lived.
The Spekes gazelle belongs to the kingdom of Animalia, the phylum of Chordata, the class of Mammalia, the order of Artiodactyla, the family of Bovidae, the subfamily of Antilopina, in the genus of Gazella, and the species of Gazelle spekes. Other closely related species include the Arabian gazelle, Chinkara gazelle, and the Dorcas gazelle. The Spekes gazelle can be found in Somalia and Ethiopia. The Spekes gazelle reach a maximum height of about 2 feet. The males weigh up to 40 pounds, while females range from 24 to 35 pounds. They have a tan back and a white underside. They also have a big nose, which is responsible for the animal's loud alarm call.
This is what his footprint looks like.
Some structural adaptations include their small size, which means less skin for excess moisture loss. They have long limbs to allow them to sprint away, and their tan color helps them blend in the environment from predators. Their S-shaped horns, which also helps defend against predators. And finally, their large ears help them with hearing predators that are close by.
Cheetah.
Some behavioral adaptations include the gazelles using gestures and certain postures for communication. An example could be the nose. And then also, they like to occupy areas with a lot of food supplies so that they maximize growth and development. And also, they live in groups or herds, which afford some protection against predators. Spekes gazelles are herbivores, so they only eat vegetation, which is typically grasses, leaves, and shoots of plants. For Spekes gazelle reproductive behavior, the males and females have to be around 1.5 to 3 years to reproduce, and they have 1 to 3 offspring. And the breeding season is from October to November.
Spekes gazelles inhabit stony brush grass steppes and semi-deserts. But at the Oregon Zoo, they live in a large grassy area with a patch of sand on the side. Spekes gazelles are primary consumers / herbivores, and they eat mostly grass, plants, and shrubs. Also, they're preyed on by secondary consumers such as cheetahs, lions, wild dogs, and leopards. It's also worthy to mention other primary consumers such as the termites, giraffes, zebras, and wildebeest, because they all contribute to the food web. They interact with almost all the animals on the food web, secondary consumers being predators, and some primary consumers acting as competition for food and land. In terms of ecological impact, the gazelles are a vital food source for secondary consumers, and although these secondary consumers don't put the gazelle's population in danger, they are still an important food source. One negative impact is that the Spekes gazelles are considered a crop pest because they eat cultivated crops of certain areas. In Israel, a severe outbreak of foot and mouth disease among several species of gazelles in 1985 resulted in the death of around 50% of a herd of 3,000 animals in a game reserve. Death was attributed to a combination of cardiac failure and dehydration. This is an example of another negative ecological impact. As of now, the Spekes gazelle is on the IUCN Red List as an endangered animal. This is because it has been hunted to extinction in Ethiopia and is endangered in Somalia due to war, hunting, and overgrazing. Their dry grasslands will support only so many grazing animals, and the gazelles often lose out to cattle, goats, and other domestic animals. Add this to the pressure of hunting and drought. For human impact, they are hunted by humans in Ethiopia and Somalia, and their land is taken away from them for domesticated animals. According to the St. Louis Zoo, there are currently no protected areas within the range of Spekes gazelles. The conservation status of this species
is expected to decline further in the absence of protection and management of wild populations and their habitat. Through our research, we've found that the St. Louis Zoo is one of the most active in helping with conservation of the spekes gazelle. The St. Louis Zoo has been collaborating with conservation scientists to learn more about them in order to help protect them from extinction. Their most recent collaboration involves making identification cards to aid scientists when counting the wild population. In this project, zoo volunteer photographer Robin Winkleman is partnering with the zoo team to take photographs of male and female spekes gazelles of several different age classes, including adult, subadult, juvenile, and calf. She is also taking photos of calves of different ages next to their mothers to help scientists estimate the ages of calves in the wild. Beyond this important collaboration, they will also be providing expertise on the care of rescued wild spekes gazelles. For zoo history, the St. Louis Zoo has had the most, with the spekes gazelle having over 200 calves born during their long, proud history of conserving the species. The zoos take care of the spekes gazelles by feeding them and giving them space to graze, and because every calf born is rare, every birth is taken with extreme precaution.